Hello everyone, I'm here today with another quick process video, and this is somewhat unusual from what I normally do. I'm actually only doing a 3x8 insert, and it's kind of hard to see here when it's blank, but there is a 2-inch pocket here and then a 6-inch pocket. So down below here, I'm going to fill that with a photo and a background, and up top I'm going to do sequins, and I'll use my fuse tool to seal it. So the trick with these two is that when I'm using in my album, I have to match it to whatever comes before it and after it. So that's why I haven't picked out my sequins yet. I need to go into the album and figure out what's before and after and then match accordingly. But I did want to show this is the photo I plan to use. This is from our whale watching excursion in Boston. And this was a shot that they take of you before you get on the boat, and then they give you the option to buy it when you're done. Well, when we had it taken, we were like, oh, I don't know if we'll want it. Well, we had such a great time that when we were done and they showed it to us, they suckered us. Of course, we bought it. So I want to make sure that that goes into my album because it's fun. So I will find a background for it, which I think is going to be this paper here. It matches pretty well, and I already actually have another strip of it that is cut 6 inches. So it would be perfect. Plus, I still have some that I can save. I do have this scratch piece of white paper that I am going to use to just mat the photo, because putting this directly on there, that's too much blue. Something needs to break that up a little bit, so I am going to use the white background to help with that. So I have matted this photo, but I don't want to adhere it on here yet until I figure out a color scheme that I can use that's going to work for the sequins, and then it'll help me pick out anything else I can put on there. And so I've decided it's going to go between this layout. So I have my left and right side here, and then this will go in the middle. So whatever I put on the other side has to match as well. I haven't figured that out yet. But looking at this with the photo in the background, I hadn't realized that I had already used that paper there. That's perfect, because then it's guaranteed to match. I actually may use that other piece I have for the back as well, just so that it all goes together, and I'll figure out something to put on there. But for this one, I think that's what I'm going to do. This allows me then to work in some red and some goldish yellow tones as well, because all of that has already been worked in here. So it kind of makes my design job a lot easier. So when I was looking at these layouts, just to bring that back in again, I used this same sheet of stickers for part of that. And in looking at this, I really like the idea of maybe using one of these banners, because it brings in the red, the yellow, different shades of blue, and the other offset color here, the teal color, is fine. It's not going to distract from anything really. And actually I've used it in a layout following this, so it'll kind of lead into that nicely, I think. And I'm generally not a banner person. I don't like using them usually, but here I think it will work and bring in some nice color, and then the sequins will be above it and I can blend in to match. So that is what it looks like with the banner on there, and then all I have to do is just snip off the extra little edges. That's pretty easy. There we go. And I picked this one rather than the one that had been on the sheet below it, because it gave me a slightly more yellow in there. Not much, but a little bit more. And then I may work in something down here. I have some phrase labels I know that are this same color yellow, so I may try to work in one of those. So I have found this phrase that says, "Hello, sunshine." It's a lovely bright yellow, which will match what's been done on the other parts of the layout. And I think I'm going to overlap it right here at the bottom. I still want to be able to see the Boston Harbor Cruise logo, but I could put it right there, and then it brings in just a touch of the yellow that will match with these. So for the other side of this pocket, I've decided I am using the same paper, and then I'm going to take this sheet of stickers and I'm going to just decorate the paper. I probably will use one of those lighthouses, I think, and then I've already taken off the little sailboat, because we were in the marina in the harbor waiting to go, and there were lots of sailboats that we passed as well. So it fits the theme of the sea and going out on the water. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this part. I have added those stickers as I planned, and then when I was looking through my phrase labels again, I found this one that says "right where I want to be," and it's in that same yellow, and so I can work that in right here in the middle, and I think that will offset the colors nicely, and it still allows me the same color scheme as the other side for when I do the sequins, so that everything will match. All right, so for this one, I decided to put in some mini staples just to add a little extra texture, but otherwise this part is done, both sides. So now the real fun starts and I get to pick out the sequins. Okay, I have pulled out a bunch of my sequins here and I just store them in these little containers. And generally what I do when I'm making my own mix is I take out one of these little containers. I got a set of these, I think there were 6 of them, 6 or 8, at the dollar store. And they're not, you know, super sturdy by any means, but I always keep one empty and that's where I make my own mixes. So I will start going through all of these different packages here and picking out some things that I think will all go together. I think I have picked out my mix here. So I want to have all of these colors represented as much as possible without overdoing it. So I have some red discs here. I have a yellow and white mix, so I'm adding this mix to my own mix. And then I have these blue stars and kind of silvery white that are all mixed together, and it gives a nice different tones of blue that are in this photo. I have some little seed beads here, and then I may or may not add these in. I want to mix all this together and see how much that fills before I add in these, but I'm keeping these in reserve just in case. I have made my mix here, and so that's what it looks like. And I used more yellow than I thought, so I'm almost out of this Walking on Sunshine mix. May have to see if they still have it and buy some more. But I do like the look of it, so I am going to put it into the pocket and see what I think. And then if it doesn't fill enough space, I probably will add in some of these. Now, another thing to note before I actually do the heating up process here is that, or I'm sorry, before I do the fusing process, is that I've had my fuse tool heating up already. You need to heat this about 15 to 20 minutes for it to be hot enough where it's going to work. And that's why I have this mat underneath here. This is an old Creative Memories mat. And this is what I often use when I am using the tool, because if it scratches this mat, no big deal. You could also use just a heavy piece of cardboard. I have done that as well in a pinch, and it works equally well. So I have filled the pocket here, and I do think that's plenty. It actually might be a little too much because you don't want the end part where you're going to seal it, you don't want that to pucker. So I think actually I may just dump out a little bit like so and go with that instead. That's better. Yep, because I need to be able to take my tool here and press it down and get a good seal without getting bubbles in there. So I think I will stop there. All right, I've got this lined up where I want it. Normally you would use this part to roll through with the tool, but I can't do that because I don't have a flat surface under here. The sequins make it bumpy. So I'm just going to take the edge of the tool, lean it up there at a slight angle, and then go along the edge like so. And you just want a nice even pressure. It doesn't have to be super hard that you're pressing down on it, but you want a good seal. So let's lift it up and take a look. That looks pretty even all the way across. We'll just do a check to make sure everything's sealed and it doesn't fall out. Looks good. All right, so I think this one is done. So here is the front of this insert layout here with the lovely sequins. And there's our photo. And what's interesting is when you do these, you get a different look on each side. So here's the front, but the back looks a lot more silver or white. It's just the way things shake out, no pun intended. But it does give a slightly different look, but I like that because then it doesn't appear exactly the same. So here's the back side. And I adore this as well. So here's another one done for Boston. Thanks for watching.